Hello and welcome to the patch note reading for patch 7.35. There's not too much to talk about today, but there are some interesting little bits that I thought we'd talk about. But first of all then, for the full notes, we of course have got playable content in this patch that launches today the 7th, and this includes new quests for all of the new content. The Mandeville Gold Saucer gets an update, which I'm excited to look at. There's some new housing items, a lot of miscellaneous things, some PvP changes, and also there are some other pieces of content as well, most notably the side quest Pilgrim's Traverse. So Pilgrim's Traverse is the new deep dungeon added as part of 7.35. It is a pivotal sort of situation in the game because they're introducing some scaling content that we'll talk about probably in a moment. But to actually start this off, you need to go over to the Crystarium at X 10.3 Y 10.7. You must have a Disciple of War or Magic at level 91, and you must have first completed the Endwalker expansion to the point where it's the Endwalker quest, the final quest of the base Endwalker expansion, and also cleared floor 50 of the Palace of the Dead, and that is your entry requirements with Pilgrimage of Light. There's also a couple of other quests that follow on from that, Fairy Tale, and also a question mark, which presumably is for the actual end boss that we'll talk about, the scaling boss. There's also the Hildebrand Adventures. This takes place in the Solution 9 area at X17 Y 18.3. You can go over there with a Disciple of War level 100. Or Magic, obviously, at level 100. You must have completed the previous set of Hildebrand quests, including the Case of the Fiendish Fugitives, and there's also a second quest associated with that, so if you want to do more Hildy. Don't forget to do your Beast Tribe. The Allied Society quest for the Yok-Hoi have been added to the game. You'll find these in Urka Parcha. Basically, they have the quest sync system, so if you want to level things up, you totally can. These obviously are available once per day. If you were to log in today and then do some more reset on the patch day, you can actually do 2 sets of dailies, so do not forget about that. That's something people always question when we do video showcases, usually a day of rewards before everyone else, because we managed to log in and do a set of quests before the reset. So don't forget to do that. If you want to go over to Urka Parcha at X32.1 Y 34.3, there's the NPC Farfarfar. That's their name. You need to be a Disciple of Hand level 90, and obviously this is your crafting Allied Society quest. You must first have completed Dawntrail and the side quest Brains and Brawn, so bear that in mind. Brains and Brawn will become available after progressing through the side chains within Urka Parcha, beginning with A Crisis of Corruption and The Flame Burns No More. So if you're wondering why this quest isn't showing up, those are the quests you need to do. Do the side quests in Urka Parcha until it pops. There's a series of rank updates with quests, obviously, and a lot of new rewards we'll look at in videos. Additionally to that then, there is obviously the new Yok-Hoi currency. These are the wards. These are held in the currency window, and you can exchange those for new items, and basically there are vendors that are unlocked throughout that quest line as well. So that's that. There is also the Monster Hunter collab, which obviously features Arkveld as a boss. There's both a normal and an extreme version of that fight. The first version, obviously, for this quest line begins with the White Wanderer. That's in Tulialal at X 13.3 Y 13.1. You need to be Disciple of War or Magic level 100, and you also need to have completed Dawntrail, like the base Dawntrail expansion. Not the patch content, just the Dawntrail expansion, and you'll be able to talk to a Palico and continue that quest line, and there's lots of rewards from that. Additionally, we've got some new housing items. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see these. So we've got some Monster Hunter collab interior stuff here with the wall poster, and obviously the Phasmascape showing Arkfeld, which is pretty cool, and a seat and a spit set of ribs. And yeah, that looks pretty cool. We've also got a stained glass window, which is a lovely wall-mounted item. I'm sure there's lots of other furnishings, but those are the ones they demonstrated here. Very nice. And there's also some outdoors items, again, from Pilgrim's Traverse and the Monster Hunter collab. That is your main source of most of the things in this patch. We've got some weird-looking trees, like with vines. We've got some, like a chronometer, I think that is, some kind of chronometer seat. interesting, very Titania themed, and some kind of pillar thing. And then we've got the Monster Hunter stuff. There's also new orchestrion roles. The Monster Hunter music is in the game as well. So in terms of the Gold Saucer, there are new cards and new NPC opponents for Triple Triad, presumably associated with either Monster Hunter or that of Pilgrim's Traverse, and of course there should be Pilgrim's Traverse related cards as well for those bosses inside. One of the coolest things then is the new hairstyle. This is what that looks like. This is from a Hairstyle Design Contest 2023. Up on screen is the concept art. I actually congratulated on social media the person who submitted this, and they hope to see all of your screenshots, so I'm going to leave their tag in the description so you can go and say how cool it is. But yes, thankfully one of the longer hairstyles, it's not the longest, but longer hairstyles has been added to the game from the entries from 2023's Hairstyle Design Contest. It's a decent length, honestly. I don't care about clipping in this game. I've said this before. I would like long hairstyles. This one is shoulder length. It is fine. The best thing about this as well is, at least in the concept, we've got the undercolor. So the highlight color is actually the underside of the hair, which is by design on the original concept. So you can imagine the primary hair color is the top layer, and then the underneath, for example, blue there, not that you can see it, but you can see the purple there on the white. It's a really nice hairstyle. I can't wait to put this on my character later. Very cool stuff. It's likely this will be from Pilgrim's Traverse, if anywhere. There are obviously new emotes. It looks like we're sipping some rice wine. I think that might be sake, right? We've got a rice paddy. This is the Doman Enclave. They've taken a picture here. Yeah, looking forward to getting some new emotes. And then, of course, let's talk more in detail about the Windward Wilds. So this is for Arkfeld. You need to be 725 average item level or above on a Disciple of Magic War level 100. It's an 8-player encounter with a 60-minute limit. And obviously in Tulialal, we said where to go and unlock that. And upon completing it, each player will receive a Veldian weapon coffer. In addition, Guardian Scales may be carved from his hide. Guardian Scales may be exchanged for a variety of weapons and items at the smithy in Tulialal, and there's a new vendor location there, after completing the quest, The White Wanderer. So not only do you get a weapon after completion, which is pretty awesome if you just want to get your weapon straight away, you also get some scales to exchange for more weapons, subsequent weapons, as well as other items in the collection, including presumably some of the other housing items and things like that, orchestra rolls. There's also the extreme version, which is 740 average item level and above. And of course, this is accessed by the Raid Finder. The first version, the normal, you can do in the normal Duty Finder, but Extreme, obviously, you need to create a group through the Party Finder or with friends. And this will give you... Yeah, so once you've done it, you need to talk to the Wandering Minstrel in Tulialal to unlock it, like you do any other Savage or Extreme content. And each time you complete the Extreme version, you'll receive a Veldian weapon coffer and 2 Guardian Arkveld certificates. In addition, Guardian Scales may be carved from his hide. The certificates then, which is exclusive to the Extreme version, are required to enhance Veldian weapons at the smithy. So if you want a presumably augmented dyeable version of the Veldian weapons, which on the special site, they look pretty awesome. There's a screenshot up screen right now. You will need to do the Extreme and collect those. So there's quite a lot to collect just from the Monster Hunter collab, and I intend to try and get as much as possible. The new Deep Dungeon, then, let's talk about this in a little bit more length. Then Pilgrim's Traverse added to the game. Obviously, up to 4 players. There's loads of new checkpoint systems. The unlock is in the Crystarium, like we said, level 91 Disciple of War Magic. You must have completed Endwalker and reached level 50, floor 50 that is, of Palace of the Dead. And like every other deep dungeon in the game, you've got fixed and match party options. So if you want to do it solo, you could do it in a fixed party, and match parties will put you into the, the party, the duty finder basically for that. It says players will be matched to party members with the same dungeon progression recorded in their save data. In order to be matched, players must enter with the same class or job that was equipped when progression was first saved. Furthermore, Etherpool gear must meet certain strength requirements depending on the area being challenged. So this is one of the restrictions. So we've got Stone 11 requires 1, right? But Stone 71 and beyond, which are the checkpoints, by the way, these stone stones, these are floors, would be 94 required. So you will need to do a little bit of work, probably a small amount of grinding maybe if your RNG isn't that good, to get your ether pool armor up to those required strengths. So just to let you know, that's how that looks. That's the actual data option. You can obviously save your data and continue your progression later after a checkpoint. But yes, pretty cool stuff. And yeah, it's basically the same as every other deep dungeon. There are some changes, obviously, with the new checkpoints that we talked about. But also we've got some slight twists. We've got the pylon of passage. Obviously, you need to defeat enough monsters to progress. That's the same. Character growth is basically the same. You can earn EXP for your external jobs. So if you're still waiting to, you know, get your mount for getting everything to 100, you might want to go level that up. And all players start at level 91 at the start of Pilgrim's Traverse, and then you get to level 100 through the process of that. But obviously, you know, your outside EXP is not reflective of your inside EXP, if that makes sense. So your progression inside, if you level up, it doesn't affect the outside, much like every other deep dungeon, right? I'm probably complicating that. Treasure coffers are exactly the same. You have the bronze coffers, however the rewards are slightly different. Bronze coffers may also contain fragments of illumined ether pool glass, which you can exchange for special items, so you want to collect those. Bronze coffers are actually worth clicking on. Silver coffers, they strengthen your ether pool, right? The success or failure of ether pool gear enhancement, as well as which gear is strengthened by how much, is decided randomly per player basis. So open your silver chests until you're obviously 99.99, but you know, always worth opening. And gold coffers get your commanders. Obviously there's ether pool gear, as you can see with the arms there, and you'll be able to enhance those as well. So it says opening silver coffers, defeating boss enemies from stone 30 onwards. Obviously reaching the end of Pilgrim's Traverse, ether pool gear can be enhanced to a maximum strength of 99, much like before. And you'll be able to exchange for those weapons externally once you have got enough ether pool to get grips to then exchange, much like before. They're showing off the Commander window, which we've seen before. Incense is basically, you know, your magicites. Players may find juniper incense within Pilgrim's Traverse, and you can use those for special abilities. You can burn the incense to get the Fairy King, for example, to come along and kill the enemies, or buff you, or heal you, that kind of thing. There are traps returning. The Accursed Horde is back, which obviously you want to collect, because there's going to be some juicy items from the appraised hordes outside when you talk to an NPC. So you get your Accursed Hordes, you clear the floor set, and then once you get outside again, you get to keep those if you clear, and then you talk to an NPC and you can get some new stuff, as well as presumably a lot of old stuff in the loot table as well. That's what the map menu looks like. And there's Tiaman, who is the person that will appraise your goodies. That's nice. Anumo. Lovely. And it's pretty much the same, right? They're the icons. That's what they look like. The only addition that's different on those is the votives, which is basically your area effects, what will happen. These are candelabras that you can interact with. And basically, these are, well, there's area effects, which are status effects, prohibited magic or special actions, and gloom. That's exactly the same as every other deep dungeon. But the votives, you may encounter these candelabras along your journey through Pilgrim's Traverse. Lighting these affects the area marked by the next traverse stone, so your next floor. Some effects are beneficial to your party members, such as healing over time or weakened enemies. Others, however, might provide additional challenges, such as an increase in the number of hidden traps, as well as monster affection and all that sort of stuff. So it's a gamble, basically. It might be worth, but on the upper floors, maybe not. But it's definitely worth clicking on, isn't it, and standing in. So there's obviously the altars of return. If somebody dies and somebody's alive and not in combat, we can go to that to res them. And every 10 traverse stones, every 10 floors, basically, you will get rewards, right? If you are level 100 upon entering, instead of getting EXP for your outside job, you'll get Allegan Tomestones and Gil, and those are the rewards. So stone 10, for example, you get Poetics, Heliometry, and Mathematics. a small amount of those, and it goes up stone 30 and beyond. For example, 30 poetics, 60 heliometry, 15 mathematics. Sounds like a small amount, but considering how simple this content is supposed to be for new players and first timers, it should be, you know, yeah, it should be that level probably. There's obviously, if your job class is between levels 91 and 99 upon entering, EXP, Gil, and Elegant Tomestones of Poetics are awarded. So instead of getting heliometry and mathematics, you will not get those if you enter with a level 91 to 99 job. Instead, you'll get EXP instead, some Gil, and Poetics. Yeah, if you reach stones 30, 70, or 50, fragments of that illumined etherpool glass will also be awarded, and you can exchange those again. There are challenge log entries, so of course you want to make sure you do those. Doing your challenge log is a great way of getting files of luminous oil, another currency, or pieces of a blessed hoard. Basically, this stuff is used to exchange for other items, a variety of items, as they say, some cosmetic items as well as some potions and things as well, if I remember correctly. We need to go into the game and look at the vendor. In the event you have a full inventory and not already in possession of any files of luminous oil or pieces of the blessed hoard, these items cannot be acquired. Please take care to ensure you have space in your inventory. A big PSA. So to actually get etherpool weapons then, players will be able to obtain the special weapons after completing the side quest Fairy Tale, which is unlocked upon clearing stone 30. So you need to clear floor 30 before you can do another quest that will allow you to exchange to get the weapons. So you get those by making sure your strength of both your etherpool and armor are at least plus 10. You speak with Ozweed in Ilmeg, and there's the coordinates, and select Forge an illumined etherpool grip. You would agree to reduce the strength of your etherpool armor by 10 in order to create one of these grips, and you repeat the process until you have 3. So it's only 3 illumined etherpool grips. If you then speak to Ozweed again, request to keep your etherpool gear, you exchange the 3 illumined etherpool grips for a weapon of your choice. And the weapons obviously are the ones, if we scroll all the way up, oh my goodness, that is a long way, these ones, right? So 3 illumined grips, which basically means you need 30 etherpool armor, and have also reached a certain point in the dungeon where you can unlock the quest to do it. So that's all it needs, 30 etherpool armor to get one of the base weapons, which is pretty cool, honestly. That's not too bad. That sounds similar to how it used to be, if I remember correctly. But yes, that's how you get the weapons. It says, entering the dungeon midway, players who have completed the side quest Fairy Tale will be given the option to start from the following stones, depending on your dungeon progression. When starting from Traverse Stone 21 and beyond, players will be set to level 100, and their inventories will be cleared of Pomanders and Juniper Incense. However, when entering from 21 and above with a match party, etherpool gear strength must meet the requirements of the area being challenged. So obviously, you can't do it unless you have the etherpool. So don't go and exchange your grips immediately necessarily. You might want to keep that, get to 99, clear the content as much as you want, and then work on your weapons, or do it slowly. It's totally up to you. Obviously, there is scoring. It says fixed parties that challenge the deep dungeon will receive an aggregate score. A variety of factors are calculated, including monsters slain, coffers opened, furthest area reached, and time spent. The resulting score is determined upon completing certain areas or when all party members are incapacitated. Scores for both solo and party play are recorded separately, and these are usually listed on a website. So there we go. In addition to that then, there is the new duty final verse, which looks very familiar, as people have reminded me. This is something that you can do level 91 and above, technically. Up to 4 players. This is just the normal mode of Final Verse, let's be honest. So after reaching stone 99, floor 99 of Pilgrim's Traverse, players will be able to challenge this Final Verse, this boss. The boss fight is identical to the one fought at 99. So basically, if you go all the way through, you can clear the boss and you're done, right? But it also unlocks a duty to queue directly for that. That's the difference this time, and it is exactly the same. So that's like the normal mode. However, there are invocations for the final verse. So after you speak with Dawntrail in Ilmeg, there's coordinates, another NPC, select Invoke the Final Verse and choose whether to enter with a fixed or matched party. When entering with a matched party, etherpool gear strength must be 94 or above. Okay, as with Pilgrim's Traverse, your character's attributes will not be affected by normal gear and instead be dictated by Etherpool gear strength. Additionally, while players may challenge the duty at level 91, their level will automatically be adjusted to 100 upon entering. There are no role requirements or restrictions for parties, and if you clear that, a treasure coffer will appear and all party members will receive random rewards upon opening it. Occasionally, players may receive rare items, such as obviously mounts and things like that, minions, all that stuff. And then there's the quantum mode, which is where the scaling tech comes in, but everybody is super excited about. So once you have, once you've completed the side quest, which is basically unlocked upon clearing the final area of Pilgrim's Traverse, so going and clearing the normal mode floor 99 boss. Once the duty's been unlocked, it is no longer necessary to retain save data that reaches the final area, so you can queue directly into the dungeon and also the quantum version. So it says, invoking the final verse quantum. After forming a party of 4 players, the party leader must speak with Vanthau and Ilmeg and select invoke the final verse quantum mode. As with Pilgrim's Traverse, your character's attributes, so nothing outside is affecting that. There are no role requirements or restrictions for the parties. However, Tufts of Phoenix Down cannot be used in the quantum version. They can be used everywhere else, including in the normal mode and Pilgrim's Traverse. Just you can't use a Phoenix Down to res in quantum. That's understandable. And then we come on to the offering system, which is the first time we have actually seen this screen. It says special items called sacramental offerings are required to challenge the quantum mode. There are 5 types of offerings: sacramental spirits, spices, grain, light, lilies. Upon completing the side quest after the floor 99 boss, players will receive 8 of every item, putting them in possession of 40 offerings total. Further offerings can occasionally be obtained by appraising pieces of the accursed hoard within the Pilgrim's Traverse. That's something you definitely don't want to skip over. If you see a golden light, go and do that. Use your commanders and clear the floors, get those. You might get some offerings, and players are free to choose how many offerings you use. A minimum of 15 is of the option to make it easier, and a maximum of 40. Now, if you put 40 in there, it's going to turn it into the equivalent, supposedly, that's what Yoshi P says anyway, quote, don't complain to me if it's easier, a minimum of 40, so obviously a maximum of 40. If you put 40 in, you're going to get an ultimate level fight, supposedly. And the more offerings you put in, not only does the amount of damage change and things like that, but the boss's behavior, so mechanics, statuses, many other factors may change. So it's going to be exciting to see how much different stats are pushed, how many other mechanics are introduced, and there will be probably like a sweet spot of what each of these essences, these sacramental things, offerings add, and there'll be a sweet spot of what's worth time versus reward. I imagine there'll be lots of people figuring that out over the next few days. And party composition bonus. So it says, upon invoking quantum, party members will gain a bonus to damage dealt according to the composition of their party. The bonus increases with a number of jobs in your party that rely on actions that affect the entire party. That's interesting. This bonus system is intended to compensate for the proportional decrease in utility of such actions as party size decreases. It says the effectiveness of the damage bonus will differ between roles. This bonus will only be applied to jobs that have no effect on classes. And has no effect on classes. I don't really know what that means. Does that mean if you go in with loads of healers, you're going to get things compensated for that? I don't know, actually. I don't know how that works, but that's the screen anyway, and it's a little toggle system, and then you press summon to summon the boss. That's pretty cool, actually, isn't it? Upon victory, then, a treasure coffer containing pieces of a blessed hoard will appear. Only the player who selected the offerings required to enter the duty can open this coffer. Once they do, their selected sacramental offerings will be expended. Okay, so if you don't clear this content, you get your offerings back. If you do clear it, it seems that the person who made this party in the first place is the only one that can use their offerings to open the chest. Interesting. Rewards are proportionate to the number of offerings used, and the player who selected the offerings will receive more rewards than other players. Oh, I see. So the other players still get stuff, but the person who put in like 40 will get the lion's share of stuff. Okay. Additionally, the appearance of a treasure coffer will change depending on the number of offerings. Here we go. So 15 to 19 offerings is bronze, 20 to 24 is bronze, and then from 25 to 39 offerings is silver coffers, but there are 3 different types of silver coffer, so presumably, you know, based on how many offerings, slightly better improvements. And 40 gives you a gold coffer. Interesting. I know that there's a title and achievements locked behind 40 offerings. How many of the actual physical items that you can obtain will only be acquirable through the gold coffer, though? That is the question. Or is it just random chance and that's a guaranteed way of getting things, and everything else is like a chance of getting stuff? That is the question that I have, and I don't think we know the answer to yet. But yeah, Pilgrim's Traverse looks very exciting. Can't wait to get stuck in. There's also some PvP adjustments. Most of these are potency changes. There is obviously some changes as well, like with Warrior, Bloater. Heavy effect duration's been reduced from 3 to 2 seconds. But we've got like stuff like Dark Knight's Eventide, reduced from 12,000 minimum potency to 8,000. And so on and so forth. I'm not going to read through all of these because, you know, PvP things change all the time. And these, at the best of times, can be classified as minor changes, very minor changes. Potency changes, a couple of small nerfs here and there, some buffs, not many. Yeah, it's the start of Season 16's... Season 16 is ending. Season 17 is the brand new one, right? This is just a ranked stuff. There isn't a series. Don't worry, your series rewards are still up there. You still need to work towards those, like your, you know, the items that you can get, the air cell attire, for example. You've still got until 7.4 for those, so don't worry. This is just the ranked season. Sorry, wow, words. This time around in Japan, it's in Meteor. North America, it's being held on Crystal Data Center. Europe, it's on Light, and Oceanic, obviously, Materia. So if you want to take part in the ranking stuff, you can. Obviously, there are lots of new items in this patch. There's a nice blurry image of the Monster Hunter outfit. Unfortunately, there is no Arkveld outfits, which really kind of sucks, honestly. I kind of hoped that we would get that. But yeah, the Monster Hunter Wilds starter gear, the Hunter stuff, it's not too bad. There seems to be 2 variants of this. They don't appear to have gender restrictions on the main page. I've seen a male character wearing this and vice versa, so yeah. And obviously the patch notes get updated at a later date for 7.35 with a full list of items and recipes, because there'll be new stuff to craft as well. Lots of new mounts, including the fuzzy leaf guy, which is great. This chocobo barding is amazing, though. The frog barding, yeah, I need that. I really need that. That's obviously Pilgrim's Traverse, and yeah, I'm going to be spending a lot of time in this content probably. And then obviously you've got a minion of a favorite character, and then we got the parasols, which look pretty great, and presumably there are other items as well. There's new face wear, some interesting rimmed glasses. I think we've seen quite a few glasses like this in the game, but more the merrier. And then we got some system changes then. So in order to prevent server congestion, the field instances will be implemented for Ilmeg, Urkapacha, Shaloni, and the newly added and the area newly added in 7.35. So if you're doing your hunt marks, Ilmeg is a good option. Urkapacha, obviously, Shaloni. This might be a good opportunity to work on your hunt mark achievements. Hunt trains, obviously, if you go through like Faloop or any other Discord stuff, or link shells, then yeah, multiple instances mean multiple bosses to fight. That's really cool. The following duties have been added to the Deep Dungeon category, so Pilgrim's Traverse, Final Verse, and Quantum. New achievements, titles, portraits, accents, etc. New adventure plates. That's quite nice, actually, for Pilgrim's Traverse. I like that. Presumably there'll be one for the 40 offering one as well, kind of like there is for Ultimate Fights. That would be interesting to see. And what have we got here? Drink green tea. Oh, that's the emote. And / green tea. And / savor tea. Continuously sip. So not only have they added a drinking tea emote, a green tea emote. I thought it was sake, but it's not. It's green tea. But they've got a looped version as well. So not only have we got a single use one, but we've got a loop. I think this is a great thing. They did this with the tombstone and the study emote, for example, like reading a book. It's nice that we're getting more looped versions as well as base, general actions where it doesn't loop. It's good to have this option, and I think they should do this more often, adding 2 variants of each emote as they go. New auto-translation stuff, trophies for PlayStation, achievements for Xbox Series X and S, and new music and sounds. Can't wait to hear Soken's version of a lot of music in this patch. And there's a load of resolved issues as well, which we're not going to go into today. But actually, yeah, let's go through these. Sorry. There are some interesting and important ones, and a PSA here right at the top. An issue with phantom weapons wherein a trade window opened by speaking with Ermina displayed items in an incorrect order. So if you've recently been upgrading your phantom weapons with one of the new stages, which is to use tomestones, right? They've basically changed the order of the Arcanite now. So if you're familiar with where the Arcanite is and it was confusing and you got used to it, they're now swapping it again. So do not blindly just click on the Arcanite list and just buy whatever's there where you thought it was, because you're going to be incorrect and get the previous stage's Arcanite. Unfortunate. It says, as a result, the items Arcanite and Waxing Arcanite have switched places on the list. Please take care you have selected the correct item before completing any transactions. I can guarantee you that there will be loads of people who are used to the way that it was, even though it was incorrect, and get completely screwed over and waste their tomes now. I can guarantee you that. The forums will be full of people like that. I can't wait to see the fallout from that. But definitely as a PSA, do not blindly accept these things. You know, make sure you read. An issue wherein gear durability and spirit bond remained unchanged when expelled from a treasure dungeon. That was an issue. There was an issue within Cosmic Exploration mech operatives, shatter glass clusters wherein the delivery range of certain field scanners was incorrect. Fishing stellar mission issue during Cosmic, wherein the explanation for certain critical missions not accessible during Cosmic Exploration progress erroneously stated data unavailable. So these are all mostly like bug fixes, things that went wrong with Cosmic, because, you know, Faena just got added. There was quite a few issues there. There was a issue with a quest keeping the old ways alive, wherein quest icons did not display on the map in areas outside of the Phantom Village. That's weird. An issue wherein the effects of PvE actions did not display properly. This includes Blood Spiller, Wheeling Thrust, Hisasu Shinten, Crimson Cyclone, Engagement, and Displacement. So that should have been fixed. There was an issue when playing as a Reaper with male Rogadin or Hrothgar characters, wherein motions did not appear correctly for PvP actions, Void Reaping and Cross Reaping. I didn't know about that. There was an issue when playing as Viper, wherein the pose assumed upon drawing a combined two-handed weapon was incorrect. There was also issues playing as female Viera, wherein the side view of certain hairstyles was not displayed correctly. I did see that, actually. I do remember where the hair was lifted slightly and there was like a huge gap between the hair and the head. It's quite humorous, but clearly that was a bug that they fixed. There was an issue having the item alternative cap equipped when using certain mounts cause incorrect graphic behavior. No, they fixed it. So if you didn't know, the alternative cap, right, the sort of emo gear as people are calling it, not me, but they are calling it that. It brings me back to college, man. That sort of little hat with the little cat ears, it has the little tassels. They were bouncing around, and if you did a certain emote before mounting and certain mounts, they would like clip into your nose and bounce around. It was quite a fun little glitch, but a glitch nonetheless, and it's been fixed. Fun detected. No more fuzzy bits stuck in your character's nose. What a shame. What a shame. I enjoyed that one, but yeah, they had to fix it. There was also an issue wherein equipping the following gear to Lalafell, male Mikoto, male Laura, and male Viera characters occasionally caused body graphics to display incorrectly. Really? The oversized plain Neo Tunic, Moogle Neo Tunic, the Chocobo Neo Tunic, Cactuar Neo, so all of the t-shirts. Oh. I wasn't aware that was a thing. Interesting. There was also an issue where camera collision did not function properly with the following furnishings. This includes blank Riviera partition, blank Glade partition, Oasis partition, and Hingen partition and Highland partition. So I think it was because the camera was going through them instead of getting stuck on them or something. I don't know. Minor issues. They also say an issue wherein players were unable to mute characters while undertaking a duty. As a result, if a character is registered on both the friend and mute lists upon exiting the duty, that character will be automatically removed from the mute list. Alright, more issues with the mute list. An issue with group pose wherein setting certain display resolutions caused the positioning of stickers to be altered when changing from a preview to portrait mode. I did see that, yeah. Other minor text issues also, and it says other various issues have been addressed, probably ones they don't want to talk about here that might be game breaking. There's also current known issues then as we go into the patch today. Firstly, an issue while playing certain Yokhoi Society daily quests wherein the icon indicating quest progression does not display correctly under certain conditions. So that's a quest marker issue. There was also an issue in the Deep Dungeon Pilgrim's Traverse where certain graphics are incorrect. So if things look a little bit off, they're aware of it. And there are other minor text issues as well at this point. So not too much to go into the patch worrying about. And they seem to have fixed a lot of stuff. Very excited to get the rewards, and as soon as I get some of this stuff, we'll make videos. Super excited about the Monster Hunter stuff. This patch is actually full of stuff to do. And yeah, take your time, enjoy the content. Definitely Pilgrim's Traverse is something that they have made more accessible to players, and if you were on the fence about trying it, I would advise going in there and giving it a go. It's a lot more lenient with the extra, you know, checkpoint systems, so you can go through the whole thing matched as well now, so you don't have to have party members that you've got to randomly find, you know, on your friends list at certain levels. So yeah, really excited to get this hairstyle as well. Huge props to the original designer for submitting this, and hopefully we get more long hairstyles. Anyway, more videos on the way from 7.35. Much love, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.